2 stages of the Street Machine Cup remain, as we have stages 3 and 4. And I think because the next one is going to be pretty easy, I think what I'm going to use this time is probably a 600cc bike, since I would no doubt be envisaging myself going up against pretty weak competition, but all in all, I don't think I'm going to have too much dilemmas. So I think first and foremost, I'm going to use the NR750, just because I want to. And more or less just make this what feels like probably a runaway effort. But anyway, the first 2 stages are down. Let's now move on to stage 3, where we've got Trial Mountain, Midfield Raceway and Autumn Ring. And since I would imagine my competition is not going to be very strong here, this will more or less be pretty much lights out from the beginning. Although if I was really wanting to give myself a challenge, I would probably be using one of the 600cc bikes by now, but nonetheless, I figured I might as well use one of the bikes that I won from the license school. And I figured this was more or less a good candidate for that. Especially since I know once I do manage to take the lead here, this will be a pretty easy win for me, from what I can see, as the gap is now 1.2 seconds. And it doesn't look like the challenge is really going to be too much here. And a little bit of contact there with the MV Augusta that is leading. In other words, the MV Augusta F4 1000S. And I gotta say, that's a pretty nice colour scheme. But either way, I go in from the outside and I score the win. And that's pretty much job done now. So all that's left for me to do is to pretty much just hold on for the race win. And boy am I gonna do that. Because I can definitely say the AI is underpowered for these first few races. And for me, that's pretty much going to provide me with what's essentially going to be an easy win. Because I don't think my opponent is really going to catch me in time to mount any serious challenges. And I'm pretty much given the free will to do what I please. Which means that this race is going to be mine. So heading through the third hairpin. And it looks like we've pretty much got our opponent beached now. I don't think he's catching up to me anymore. It's going to be really hard for me to imagine a scenario where I don't come away with the win. And this is without me even using the... And this is even without me using the 900cc plus bikes. I'm pretty much just so laid back over here that I can practically afford to more or less coax my way to the win, because I'm just pulling away at such a rate of knots that that's kind of what I'm doing at the moment. And it looks like it's gonna continue to be that way. I'm getting a little bit of wheel spin there, but able to more or less stay in control of the bike as we head through the hairpin, now down into the second to last hairpin on the lap, and then we've got another one that follows suit. So through the corner we go. And the gap is now 12 seconds. So I would imagine it's going to be at least 14 seconds by the time we get to the line, or 13 seconds. But either way, the job is done yet again. And another easy win, as I would have imagined. And he just makes it to the line before the fade. And do I have a replay saved of a Honda already? Something tells me I do. Yeah, I do. Okay, you know what? I think I'm gonna use a different bike for the next race. At least I've actually got some racing done with a bike that I actually said I was going to use. So, for winning race 1, we get more riding gear, 2 helmets, and we get another MV Augusta F4. But this time, we get the F4 1000S. Very nice. And next up is Midfield Raceway. So let's go and change our bike, because I have to keep it interesting. Because why not? And I think this time I'm going to use... Let's see. Let's use the... I think I will use... Yeah, let's use the GSXR 600. Just because I think this will work in terms of keeping it interesting. Since I am constantly swapping and changing bikes to make it look like I'm giving the bikes I won from the... since I am trying to more or less keep up the parity. Anyways, on now to Midfield Raceway for 3 laps. And this time we are up against a YZF R1. This should be pretty easy, if these first few races have taught me anything. It's that beating the higher powered bikes at this point, they've more or less become pretty easy at this stage. And I doubt this one is going to be any different, as the gap is just 7/10 to the bike ahead. I'm using a bike with less than 600cc, and it is a case of Suzuki versus Yamaha as I come off the corner, and just like that, the race lead and therefore race win is pretty much mine. And lifting off the throttle so I get through the corner. And it looks like it's going to pretty much continue the trend of me literally spanking the opposition, as the gap is 2.2 seconds as we head on to lap 2 here at Midfield Raceway. And the gap is now 3.4 seconds. So we're slowly nipping and tucking ourselves away from our opponent, which is what I would have guessed. And now we are under 5 seconds clear, which means by the end of this lap we're probably going to wind up being... and I've fallen off. Well, I almost thought for sure we were going to be clear, but once again, Deathband has caught me out, as I would have guessed it would, but fortunately, unlike challenge mode where if we fall off the bike we fail, in the race events the game just resets us. I would have been probably 6 seconds clear of the Yamaha by the time we were done, but unfortunately the game decided, even though I was not in the gas, it basically decided to just drag me in to the dirt anyway. Even though I'm pretty sure I was not going fast enough to make that sort of mistake, but somehow the game thought I went too deep in terms of my steering angle, and it ultimately decided, okay, now you die. And that's pretty much what happened. Well, what would have been probably an 8-second gap by this point now looks like it's probably going to become, I think, about a 4-second gap. Or maybe even less. But no matter, because we still get the win. Even though we wrecked, we still get the win pretty easily, and just under 5 seconds, which is kind of what I was expecting. Although I'm pretty sure it would have been more than that had I not wrecked at Deathband again, which is basically what happened. Well, these things happen. It's not like I was going to escape the crutches of Satan himself in that one corner every time. But anyway, saving another replay. And now we can press onwards to race 3, and where I will be switching bikes again, because that is what I do. When it comes to me having so many bikes in my garage, I want to keep up the parity. So, first of all, we get the Honda CBR 954 Fireblade. And now we just have Autumn Ring left over. So, one race to go. And now I will switch bikes again for the final time. And this time I'll switch over to... let's use... let's see what we have. Let's use... yeah, let's use the Kawasaki Ninja this time for our final race. Even though this is probably going to make it easy again, but no matter. I still have to keep it interesting, and hopefully that more or less gives you everything you need in order to be convinced. So, one race to go in Street Machine Cup Stage 3, and then after that I can pretty much call it a day. Because I have been at this now for a good while, and also because I have other things to do. As our opponent is once again the MV Augusta 910 Brutale. I think that's how it's pronounced, but anyway. Looks like this one is going to be pretty much another cakewalk. But then again, that's why I am trying to make this more challenging for myself. And immediately up into the lead. This one is more or less going to be a cakewalk, because that's just how piss easy these first couple of races have been altogether. Especially since I am doing this riding a Kawasaki Ninja. Because why the hell not? And already the gap is 3.5 seconds. So providing I don't go too deep on the bike again. I almost fell for it there, but I managed to keep myself up. Providing I don't go too deep on the bike again. This is pretty much going to be another cakewalk for me, as I said before. Because rubber banding is not very strong for these first couple of races. And even though there have been mistakes, there always will be, it's been pretty much a near flawless performance from what I can see. And the gap is now 9.6 seconds. I almost went too deep there on that corner exit, but able to maintain my position. And it looks like I'm pretty much going to run away with this one. So if I was really wanting to challenge myself, I probably could have used the Honda CB400 if I really wanted to, but well, I just decided it was better for me to show you just how easy a lot of these early races really are. Because that's more or less what they are. I've probably got a big enough gap now to more or less put myself in the swing of just coasting between now and then. And I can pretty much afford to just be cordial now because there's not really much else that can be done between me and my opponent unless I crash. But since Autumn Ring is more friendly to me than midfield on the bike, I don't think he's going to make it to the finish line before the fade. Because the fade only lasts about 15 seconds and then it pretty much just moves on, so I know my opponent is not going to make it. This is pretty much going to be an easy win for me, once again. And I still go faster even though I felt slower. But either way, we've beaten the MV Augusta Brutale 910. And as I would have suspected, doesn't make it to the finish line before the fade. And that's it. That is it for Street Machine Cup Stage 3. And I do have a replay saved. That is good. And now we can move on. As next up will be Street Machine Cup Stage 4. And where I will probably be using the highest displacement bikes I can use. As this time we get the Honda CB 750F from 1979. Now let's go and check our prize bikes. So next time will be Street Machine Cup Stage 4, and where we'll pretty much be unlimited. And our races will be taking place at Apricot Hill, High Speed Ring and Tsukuba. And that will be the last of our street bike events. So that is now the end of Street Machine Cup Stage 3. Now let's go and look at our bikes. But first of all, so we've gained, I think another... Wait, what gap were we at before? Oh yeah. So we've gained another 1.6% of progress, I think. But we're now up to 54.8% as a result of us completing Street Machine Cup Stage 3. And now I have to find my 3 bikes from winning. So the easiest one will be the F4 1000, which we get in silver and blue. I might consider using that bike next time just to mix things up and make them more interesting. So that's the first one we get. And the other 2 bikes we get are, once I can find them, are the Honda CBR 954 Fireblade in winning red, very nice. And last but not least, we get the Honda CB 750F, once I can find it. Should be in here somewhere. Yeah, here it is. From 1979. Silver metallic with a blue stripe. And that's pretty much gonna do it from this episode. And also for today's overall session. So, next time on Tourist Trophy. Street Machine Cup Stage 4.